Hit the right button. There we go. All right. It is good to see you guys. Hmm. Yes, as always, as I'm going out throughout the week doing what I'm doing, thinking about what I want to share with you guys. And right now, a lot of the reading I've been doing is on neuroplasticity and the way our brains change, and just all of the amazing things that our brains can do. We used to think that once a brain was set, it was done, and yet we have all of this research now that shows just how brain patterns can change. And there's quite a bit of research with mindfulness on how your brain patterning changes with people that will continue practicing mindfulness. And one of the biggest changes that people have been able to measure is this: there's less reactivity in the emotional part of the brain, such that you don't have this huge boom into a particular path or emotional reaction, but there's a little bit more of a calmness, a processing, and then an actual emotional experience. And you can see different parts of the brain light up as people have no mindfulness practice versus people who've been practicing for a while. So it's just kind of interesting to see that your brain changes based on how you practice. And this is not only true for mindfulness practice. It really is this growing understanding that nerves that fire together wire together. So in other words, these neurons, when we group them together, if they are practicing a particular pathway, that pathway gets stronger. This is why when we worry, it gets so easy. It's so easy. It's like you just like loop into it because that neural pathway is so set. It's like driving down an 8-lane highway and you're the only car on the road. You're like, boom, 90 miles an hour, just right down that pathway. Whereas thinking about something to like pause and go in a different direction, you're actually like turning off onto this little dirt road. There's only maybe one neural connection there. But the more you practice it, the stronger that neural connection goes. It's like the more you drive on that dirt road, the smoother it gets, the more familiar you get with it. Soon it becomes second nature to just drive down this new neural pathway. And so there is this thing of practice effect, practicing in a very particular way where you're very aware and attuned to what you're doing, that changes brain patterning. And to me, that's just fascinating. Here we are, we can literally rewire our brains. And the area that I've been looking at right now is some of the really early brain patterning that happens, usually within the first couple of years of life, and how this kind of sets the framework for how we interpret life. And looking at the fact that that's actually not set in stone the way we used to think it was. But even these neural patterns can change. And so that's kind of where I want us to play with, is even just this curiosity, exploring, this wondering, what if you can change your brain patterning? What if you can strengthen new neural pathways? It's like we have those neural pathways that we just go down easily. I'm sure we all have those. Just like, oh yes, I can worry like nobody else. I have like a PhD in worrying. That's just my go-to. Or we have an immediate like fear response, just like boom, it kicks in. That's just that neural pathway that goes this way. But what if through practice, through intentional paying attention, again, it's this like awareness, this mindful awareness of details, you start to build your brain pattern to go, oh yeah, I go this way, such that it feels very natural for me to fall into something, say, like contentment. What if I can train my brain to just start to really key into the details of contentment? And then my brain just goes, oh, yeah, I know this. I know the physical feelings that go with this. I know the emotions that go with this, or the thoughts. And it almost like opens up this whole file that says, yep, this is what contentment is. Here we go. What we have to do to train that, though, is to pay attention to some really key details. And this is what we do with our mindfulness practice. What are those physical sensations? What are the emotions that are present? What are the thoughts that are present? When you find yourself in a place of contentment, what is the internal experience actually like? So often we skip over it. We're just like, oh, thank God. It's just, whew. And yet we don't really spend time to go, oh, yeah, this nuance, this detail, this one right here. That's what contentment feels like. So I thought that's what we're going to play with in particular today, is getting to know contentment, what that feels like, with that just knowledge that as you really feel into it, intentionally putting your finger on it, you're strengthening that neural pathway. So I guess that's enough introduction. We'll just jump in and start playing. All right, so get comfortable. Go ahead and close your eyes. Going to switch from thinking about changing this brain into actually experiencing it. So as we begin to shift into this mindfulness practice, noticing your breathing, we start and we end with the breath, because it is that anchor that is right here in this moment. This breath right now, in this moment. Being very deliberate, watching this breath. And welcoming whatever it is. It doesn't have to be any particular way. Maybe noticing the breath is a little bit short and shallow, or it's long and deep. It's all just breathing. Noticing the way your chest rises and falls as you breathe. Perhaps noticing that movement and expansion front to back and side to side as the rib cage pulls out underneath your arms. And even noticing that expansion top to bottom, from the top of your collarbones all the way down to your hips, as your torso fills with air. And as always, whenever you notice that your mind has wandered, you just simply acknowledge it and you come back to the breathing over and over again, because that is the practice of mindfulness. Noticing and then redirecting back to where you want to be. And so as we begin to play with attuning to contentment, I want you to pick a memory, an experience, just a small little experience where you felt content. It could be as simple as taking a walk outside, or that first sip of coffee in the morning. Or sometimes it's even that just couple minutes after you lay down in bed and you finally just start to relax. Just a small little moment. Just take time to notice that scene, noticing where you were, what you were doing, noticing the sights around you. What did it look like? What colors were present? What shapes? Noticing whatever sounds were around you. If you were outside, was there a sound of the wind or birds? I'm imagining my first sip of coffee in the morning. And I can even hear my breath as I lean over that cup to take that first sip. It's almost like the cup echoes the sound back to me. And then notice what you were feeling, the sensations in your body, whether there was warmth or coolness, or pressure or temperature. Sometimes there can be ease and relaxation, feeling something supporting you. I love the feel of the warmth of the cup through my fingers. So I just sit there holding, waiting for that very first sip. And then you can even add in scent. What did you smell around you? Sometimes it's that smell of the fresh air, the smell of trees, or if you're imagining being with an animal, there's that very distinct animal scent that just kind of makes you smile. And it just kind of eases something in your chest, that scent. And scent affects us in a very particular way. It's one of our oldest, most basic senses. And when we smell comfort, there is just this easing, relaxing, deep inside, almost this unwinding. And adding in taste if that's appropriate to your memory. Just really filling out the details, breathing into it, letting your body even respond as you bring up this moment of contentment. And even starting to pay attention to those internal responses. How does your body respond when content? Is there a relaxing, an unwinding? Sometimes it can feel like a settling down or a pulling out, or even an openness in the chest, or a lightness, a brightness. What senses do you notice in your body? Sometimes even that flickering back and forth between the memory and what you're sensing right now. I notice I'm feeling just this wideness in my chest. It's almost like that the rib cage gets broader. I want to like drink in the air, take a deeper breath. It's almost that savoring feeling just with breathing. And a deep, delicious exhale. Sometimes that feeling of contentment can feel like muscle tension just starting to release. Tension in the forehead or around the eyes and the jaws. Areas where we can hold a lot of tightness and squinting and focus and just being able to relax it. Letting it be just what it is. And again, that stepping back and forth, being in the memory, being in the now, being in the memory, attuning that experience of contentment to right now. Noticing what emotions come up as you notice contentment. Sometimes it can be just pure relief, that sense of just like, ah. And sometimes it can feel calm, ease, peaceful, satisfied. Kind of that happy baby with a full belly, kind of drifting off to sleep feeling. Notice what emotions come up for you with contentment. Might even feel different emotions in different places. I notice I feel a lot of peace and calm more down in my belly. And then that sense of just almost delight that comes with contentment, a brightness up in my chest. Sometimes curiosity can be there when you're feeling content. It's almost like you're free to play, free to explore. And then noticing the thoughts that come up with contentment in this memory. Then it may not be particular thoughts, it might be a way of thinking. Sometimes my thoughts feel smooth and even. They don't feel as pressured. It's not as fast and just pushing. Think, think, think. But it's almost like the thoughts can have a little bit more flow in them. Or sometimes the thoughts feel clearer, sharper. There's less fuzziness. On the other hand, sometimes for people feeling content, the thoughts can feel more abstract, more musing. There's more ease, more stream of consciousness. Just noticing what that pattern is like for you. And again, flickering that back and forth between the memory of it and the sensing of it right now in this moment. Perhaps even taking that moment to notice that whatever caused the contentment in the memory isn't here now. And yet the sensations of contentment can be here. I can feel content right now in this moment, even without that first sip of coffee right here in front of me. Really noticing the physical sensations, the emotions, the thoughts or the thought patterning happening right now in this moment, completely independent of any external situation, simply attuning inward. There's something so delicious in that for me. It's like I feel the excitement in my chest that, oh, this contentment, I can give this to myself whenever I need to. It's here, right here. It's simply an experience that I can step into over and over again. You might even take a moment to notice what are the key details in your sensations, your internal experience that go, oh, yes, that's contentment for me right there. You know, it might be that particular easing in your belly, or it might be a way your thoughts change to feel a particular way. But these key details can be what tune you in to stepping back to this place. And again, these can be your anchors in the same way the breath can be an anchor. Stepping right back whenever you need it to. And then letting all of your awareness come into your breathing. Noticing how your breath is now in this moment. Breathing all the way through your lungs, down into your belly. Letting that awareness expand through your whole body, such that as you inhale and breathe, it's almost like your awareness extends all the way up to your skin. Noticing your whole body from your head down into your feet. And breathing, noticing the place where you are now, where you are sitting, the room that you're in, being seated right here in this place, in this moment. Taking a few more breaths. And when you feel ready, opening your eyes.